Hello, welcome. I'm Abbey White, and I'm here today with Jim Hawk of Hawk Media Studios in Cheshire, here in Connecticut. And Jim is involved in a contest to become a movie maker. Mark Burnett and Steven Spielberg have teamed up to do this Let's Discover a New Director type of contest. And so Jim made a little trailer, little story, teaser, and submitted it, and among other people, they're going to be judged, and then there's going to be an elimination, and even a TV show starting in May. But Jim, let's start at the beginning. How did you get involved with this whole thing?
Well, actually, to answer that question, there's a long answer to that, and there's a short answer. The short answer is that back in January, when American Idol was on,
Okay.
There was a commercial that came on. This contest is called On the Lot.
On the Lot, that's right.
And I saw the commercial, and since I'm interested in video, I got kind of excited about it. Excuse me. But I was a little hesitant because of the scope of the thing.
Okay.
2 minutes later, my son called me and said, "You're going to do that, aren't you?" And I said, "Well, yeah, okay," and I did.
Mm-hmm.
The long answer is the way I got involved in this thing was about a year and a half ago. I shot some video at my son's wedding.
Okay.
First time I'd ever done it, and I was only at the wedding as a entertaining sort of thing. It wasn't that I was shooting the video as a videographer. And I came home and I started doing the editing. And I started off with a software editing program that was nothing but trouble.
Uh-huh.
And so
nameless, but it begins with a P.
Yeah. And so anyway, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But anyway, after struggling with that program for a couple months, I got another program called Adobe Premiere Pro.
Okay.
And again, another long learning process. It probably took me 6 to 9 months to edit that wedding, which is outrageous.
Oh, no.
Well, of course, because of the learning process of having no experience with the editing software. But when I got done with it, I was really excited about it, and I liked it, and I was looking for other things to do.
So you were hooked.
I was hooked.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So then what did you do?
Right after that, my wife said to me, the Cox Studio has a
And Cox Studio is another public access studio
Right.
besides North Branford.
they have a studio training program
Okay.
on how to run their equipment. And my first reaction to that was, oh yeah, and they probably charge $5,000 for it too. But I went on the website, there was no charge for it, so I called up and I signed up for it, and I spent like 2 months, one night a week after work, for a couple hours learning how to run all their equipment.
Okay.
The station manager, I asked him, I said, I'm really getting real excited about this. How can I put something on TV? And he says, the only thing you have to do is finish 4 half-hour programs, and I'll put it on TV.
Okay.
So I came home after that. This was right around Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And I came home right after that, and it was right around Thanksgiving, as I said. And we sat down to the Thanksgiving dinner, and I said, I want to make a movie.
Uh-huh.
Waiting for somebody to offer some help, and there was none.
Oh, good.
So my wife and I were riding around shortly after that, and we were just tossing around ideas of movies that I could make.
Yeah.
And one of them is a friend of mine in Cheshire is building a car in his garage. So I went to Larry, and I said, Larry, I'd like to make a movie of you building your car. And at first he was hesitant.
Yeah.
So we talked about it some more, and he said, yeah, let's do that. And
And the name of the show?
the name of the show, and it's being shown on your station,
Yeah.
is The Old School on a Budget.
Okay.
Old School Roadster, excuse me. Old School Roadster on a Budget.
Right.
And it turned out to be a 4 1/2-hour piece series. In other words, a 2-hour length program.
Okay.
And again, I enjoyed that so much, I was looking for something else to do.
Oh my. Okay. So now we're back to the contest. On the Lot. So you see this commercial when you're watching American Idol.
Yep.
Now, have you written before, or I don't know, how did you come up with a story?
No, I have no experience in writing before. This was the first. how I came up with the story was that I saw that the biggest obstacle I was going to have
Yeah.
was finding an actor, or
Okay.
actors, whatever the case. So my initial reaction was, okay, I want to do a story with one actor. I should be able to do that.
Okay.
And then I said, okay, if you have one actor, what would be the situation that you'd only have a single person? And I said, well, okay, how about the last day of the last man on Earth? And that's how the story got developed.
Ah, okay. 'Cause it's almost like the brother who fell to earth, but
I don't know that one.
that's different. But
Okay.
it's also a single person. But anyway, so you come up with that. Now then you set out to do what? How much time did you have to do this? You know,
Trying to remember, the deadline was February 6th, no, 12th, 16th, so February 16th. And I don't think well, American Idol would have been the middle of January,
Okay.
so that was a month.
So you had a month to put
Oh,
this thing
not
together.
even. Because, well, it's a process, you know, when you find out about the contest.
Yeah.
I mean, in my case, I had no concept. So it took me like a week or 2 weeks just to come up with a concept.
Oh boy.
And then writing a script.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at the last minute, there was a lot of running around, getting things done to get the thing finished, and that happened.
Okay, so where did you find your actor?
Eric is a guy that actually was a friend of mine and a competitor when I worked for another company.
Okay.
He would sell in a neighboring territory
Mm-hmm.
the same product that I was selling, and we would have, every once in a while, we would go to these national sales meetings,
Okay.
and we talked one night, and he was telling me about his experience with independent movies.
And what did he say about that?
Well, that's one of the first things I had as a thought was calling Eric and see if he was interested in doing this.
Okay, so that was previous, now we're up to.
And so when I called and asked him about this project, he said, yeah, of course he'd like to do this. He said, of all the things that he's done, nothing has ever been finished. So this turns out to be the first finished work that he's done.
Oh, good. Okay. So where did you shoot and what, we're gonna see the show, but what were your locations?
That's a good question, because that's part of the development story. When I came up with the concept of the last man on Earth, obviously I would need to have some place with rubble. I mean, because
Yeah.
that's part of the package. Well, it's really interesting because as soon as I developed that idea, I'm watching the news that night and they're saying how they're going to drop the Coliseum the next day.
Yeah.
So I'm getting all excited. I'm going to go down there. I'm going to shoot them dropping the Coliseum. And I woke up that Saturday morning and I said, I don't think that's a great idea. And I turned the news on. Interstate 91 was tied up for miles. Interstate 95 was tied up for miles. And I said, you know, a building that's destroyed by a nuclear blast doesn't fall to the ground. It's wiped off the ground.
Mhm.
So I said it didn't make any sense to go down there. I went down the next morning. There was nobody there. It was absolutely unbelievable.
Perfect.
I know. It was.
Perfect.
They had the barricades up so that you couldn't go in, of course. But I could literally reach across the barricades and touch the building,
And there was nobody there.
and there was nobody there. Which,
Because, you know,
well,
it can't be.
you know, one of the things that, of course, one of the things that's really interesting about this is, and you'll see this in the movie, is early on, he says, I must be the only man on Earth. I have never seen another person or another insect or another animal.
Mm.
Well, everything that I shot had to be without another living thing.
Right.
So to your point about when I did the Coliseum, I had to make sure that, I mean, there's freeways around here, there's cars, there's people walking around. Everything had to be shot with not so much as even a shadow
Right.
of a person, or it's the bid is up.
Well, without any further ado, here is Alpha to Omega, Jim Hawk's entry into the Mark Burnett, Steven Spielberg On the Lot contest.
Yes! I found it at last. Now maybe I can get my bike running again. It seems I'm the only human being on this planet. Actually, I must be the only living thing on the planet except for the plants. I haven't seen another person, animal, or even an insect since it happened. My name's Gene Rattar. Not that that means anything. Having a name is positively useless when there's no other people around. What's the point? It serves no purpose. Anyway, I've been here all alone for what feels like 4 or 5 years, but I can't be sure. A few years ago, while rummaging through some old newspapers, I came across articles telling of a terrorist group that got hold of a nuclear weapon and a rocket. They managed to suck us all into the fray, and within a few hours, it was over. Every nation that possessed a nuclear weapon launched. The Russians, the Israelis, the Chinese, and even the Iranians. In an instant, all of the world's major population centers went up in mushroom clouds. A little later, I found the personal diary of Mary Sullivan. Mary had survived well into the bitter end. Her diary told me the gruesome story in vivid detail of how every remaining living thing died slowly over time from the radiation in the nuclear winter. I have no idea how I was able to survive, and in fact, I have no recollection of any of those deadly events. The earliest memory I have is of waking up alone on a beach one morning. Well, I hope this is the right part and that it isn't defective. It'd be nice to have wheels again. One of the first major decisions I had to make was where I was going to live. I could have chosen any number of posh homes in nice neighborhoods, but I chose an industrial area since I thought it would give me the best chance for survival. I always seem to need something, and materials are most readily available in the industrial park. I picked this building because it's big enough for me to have fire for cooking and warmth, and I don't have to worry about getting killed by the fumes. Sometimes I regret that. This is my main living area. I call it the presidential suite. I eat, sleep, and read here. Reading and singing are my only forms of entertainment. And I'm not a good singer, but there's no one around to complain. I'd better go down to the river and get fresh water. When I realized I could do whatever I wanted, I started to stockpile all the gold and jewels I could get my hands on. I am so rich, wealthy beyond my dreams, but it didn't take me long to realize what a complete waste of time. Food, water, clothing, and shelter, these became my priorities. In the beginning, I thought I'd find a woman and would become the Adam and Eve of the new world. The world would know me like no other man. They'd say I'd made the human race possible again. Well, it's pretty obvious now there is no Eve, and I won't create a civilization. There's nothing left. What's the point of my existence anyway? Every day is the same as the one before, and I'm going nowhere. There's no point to this. I can continue to struggle on in this hell, but I'll die in the end anyway. I've had it. Enough's enough. Mary, all those terrible things you said in your diary about the end, they're all true. I'm glad I found that gun today. Enough's enough. You know my name.
I've come to take you home. My experiment here has been a complete failure.
Well, what'd you think? Welcome back. All right, so tell us, now that you have the tape submitted, how is the staff and Mark Burnett and Steven Spielberg going to be able to pick the winner? What happens next?
All right, it's on the internet,
Okay.
and
Can people vote on it?
people can do, well, there's two things that happen on the internet. One is if you go to it,
Yeah.
you can see the number of times that it was viewed. To date, mine's been viewed 850 times.
Wow.
And of the 850 people, 20 people or 25 or so decided to rate it, and
Okay.
24 out of the 25 rated it 5 stars out of 5 stars.
All right, and we'll give you that web address.
And what they're going to do as far as the contest is concerned is there were 12,000 entries. Out of the 12,000 entries, they're going to reduce it to 200 entries.
Now, are they going to use this rating system?
No, I don't think they're, my understanding is that what they do is they view the films and they just pick them purely on content.
Okay.
The ratings and the views that are on the web, my understanding is does not influence this part of the process.
All right.
But when they pick the 200, they're going to go to 6 different cities in the United States. I know New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, or whatever. They're going to interview those 200 people.
Mhm.
And out of those 200 people, they're going to pick 50.
Mm.
And then from 50, they're going to go to a TV show that starts May 22nd.
Oh,
And
gosh,
it's
that's
gonna-
coming up quick.
It certainly is. It's going to be the video equivalent of American Idol.
And is it gonna be called on the lot so that if we tell people to,
Yeah, it is called on the lot.
okay, all right.
And so-
In May, we'll be able to see if you made it into the
Right.
final 200?
Exactly.
And then what happens?
The show, as I understand it, is that the producer directors are going to be making little videos,
Okay.
little movies, and then shown the following week. Now the audience votes for who wins or loses.
Ooh.
Yeah, the American Idol concept, right?
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do if you win, and what are you gonna do if you lose?
I hope I don't lose. But Abby, in any case, win or lose, I'm going to make more movies just because it's such a kick.
It is.
It's
It's
such
a lot of fun.
It really
Yes.
is.
Yeah.
It's such a creative thing. I mean, when you're making a movie,
Yeah.
you actually get to form the environment that you want. I mean, if you want it to be a cold, dreary day, it is. If you want the sun to
Yes.
shine, it is. It's such a creative thing.
Now, do you like camera work better than editing, or is it half and half?
Actually, I kind of like it all.
Yeah, okay. All right, well.
The thing I don't like is being in front of the camera.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say, let's have you back, in your next exploit and see what happens.
Okay.
Give us a little postcard from the edge type of thing.
Yeah, see what happens. I might not be in such a good mood if I lost.
Well, thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
And thank you for joining us. Jim Hawk, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.